All right, welcome to my little studio here on the bottom floor of our house up in the mountains. You can see my wife's guitar in the background, and that thing that looks like a little guitar in a case, that's actually her ukulele. And she also has a couple of acoustic guitars, but those are upstairs on the main floor. Anyway, what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to introduce you to 3 basic chords. And I talked a little bit in the last video about what a chord is, just a bunch of notes played together. And we're going to be playing some specific notes here that will make a very nice sound. And so I want to show you how to play these 3 basic chords. And in order to do that, we're going to switch now to the overhead camera. And you'll be able to look down on my fingers and see what's happening here on the keyboard. All right, now we're looking down on the keyboard, and just to give you an idea of where we're at, here's middle C. And so we're going to begin by playing the chord called C major. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your 3 fingers on the keyboard, starting with the C below middle C, this note here. Then you'll use your middle finger to play the E, and then your thumb goes on the G. So here is C major. Nice chord, just like that. Now what you want to do when you play these chords, when you play C major, remind yourself that the notes contained within that chord are C, E, G. So whenever you play this chord, always tell yourself, I am playing the C major chord, and the notes in the chord are C, E, and G. I'll stick my fingers in a different way so you can see the 3 notes I'm playing. Now, you wouldn't put your hand like this, of course, but this helps you see exactly which 3 keys I'm pressing down to play C major. Now, chord number 2, we're going to move our little finger up to F, put our middle finger on A, our thumb on C, and this will be F major. F major. So we have C major, F major. Now, the 3rd chord we're going to play, we're going to start with our little finger on G, middle finger on B, and our thumb on D. This is G major. Now, to help this process, I want you to notice that all the chords have 3 notes. Remember, I mentioned before, you have to have at least 3 notes to make a chord. Just 2 notes like that, that's called an interval. It kind of suggests a chord when you hear it, but to complete the chord, you need that 3rd note. So all the chords have 3 notes, and also notice they're all, right now, on the white keys. Also, they all kind of feel alike to your hand. They are of equal difficulty when you play them this way. You can compare this to learning chords on the guitar. If any of you have ever played guitar, you know that you've got to put your fingers in different positions, and some chords are harder than others. For example, everybody knows how to play a D chord on the guitar, but to play a C chord is a little more difficult, and to play an F chord, well, that can be even harder still. Now, I want you to notice one other thing. The bottom note of each chord is also the name of the chord. So the bottom note of this chord is C. The name of the chord is C major. The bottom note of this note, or the bottom note of this chord rather, is F, and this chord is F major, and then this one, of course, is G major, named after G. So here's an important concept to remember. The note of the chord, or rather the note the chord is named after, is the root of the chord. So every chord has a root note upon which the chord is built. So the root note of C, C major, well, it's C. The root note of F major, F. And the root note of G major, well, of course, it's going to be G. Now, there's one other thing I want you to notice about these 3 chords. They are called, notice how I was always calling them C major, F major, and G major. These are major chords. Now, there are different kinds of chords, and chords have different qualities. So remember that term, chord quality. Doesn't mean that it's a good chord or a bad chord, but it talks about the fact that it's either a major chord, a minor chord, or a seventh chord. These are the three main chord qualities. So right now, by learning to play C major, F major, and G major, you have a repertoire of 3 chords, which will enable you to play thousands of songs. Of course, all in the same key, but there are a lot of songs with only 3 chords. So for now, we're going to play these chords with the left hand. The reason being that as a soloist, we're going to learn to play the melody with the right hand. And we're going to use little finger, middle finger, and thumb for most hands. And we're going to be playing these chords in the area just below middle C. They sound good. They sound good there. So here's what you've learned so far. 3 chords, how to play them, what notes are in them. Remember, C, E, G, and then F, A, C, G, B, D. Every time you play these chords, think to yourself, what notes am I playing? What chord am I playing? What is the quality of the chord that I'm playing? And we're going to play them with our left hand. Now, you need to know when to play these chords and what chords to use. And for that, you're going to need music. And that's why we learned basic music notation. Now, we will use the music and careful listening to play songs. And so remember, this is a course for you're learning how to play popular piano, if you like, popular music, not classical. You'll be able to play hymns, worship songs, rock and roll songs, anything you want, folk songs. But you won't necessarily be able to play Beethoven at this point. Now, of course, you can always go on and do that later if you want, and that would be great. But right now, you know enough to start playing songs. And so the song examples that I'm going to be giving you in these future lessons are just songs to help you get started. They're simple tunes that everybody usually knows. You can start with these songs, and then you can quickly replace them with songs that you choose to play. So let's go on, and we're going to actually play a song in the next lesson.